can't lose sight of the fact that there is only one lap, 1.5 call it, between first and second, Pirro and Eric Ellery for Pescarolo Sport. These guys are some 9 laps down on the sister car. And you hear that very different sounding.
And you heard how hard the driver worked at not spinning the tires. You heard the chirp when he let the clutch out the first time. He put it right back in as not to light up those tires and get that 3-minute penalty.
Speaking of a penalty, the Vinny Motorsports Lola has received a 1-minute stop-go penalty. Not quite sure what for, and we will try to update you on that frustrating situation with the Racing for Holland. Look at that. Beautiful scenes here at Le Mans.
I think you get a 1-minute penalty just for being in the race. You know, it's just the ACO's way.
Well, they've been handing them down, haven't they? Pretty hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Bill Binney's car is back on track as we speak. So we're up to date with the top 4. Pedro Lamy is 5th overall in the GT1 class-leading car. Make that 4th now. With that dome jut of Racing for Holland and Alex Young still stuck out on the circuit somewhere.
You see now, taking a look at the racetrack, you can see all that gravel the driver's been complaining about all night long. Big chunks of rock, and those rocks, I should say, are very sharp-edged. Really easy to cut a tire.
Yep, this is the 76 IMSA Performance Matmut Porsche in. This was the pole-sitting car in GT2. They're down in 32nd overall. Romar Dumar is behind the wheel, and Concern on the front end.
Boys having a good look at the front suspension.
Yes, they've just lifted the hood on this car. You can see from our pictures. And when they do that on a Porsche, they definitely aren't looking at the engine. In fact, they're just checking the brakes. They have a problem with the front brakes here. One of the interesting things about this particular car is, unfortunately, I can't get my cameraman around the back, but it actually has a road registration number on it. 14NN76. 76 is actually the Department of France, and we'll just show you here the picture. Look, there is the reg number on the back wing there, and of course some of our older commentators like David Hobbs will remember when cars used to be driven to this circuit 50 years ago. Jaguar used to drive their cars all the way to Coventry on the road to the race circuit, and then race them and drive them back again if they were still going.
This will be particularly frustrating for Porsche, who have special interest in this car. Raymond Narek, who races in the French Championship, and of course, Porsche driver, the very fast Romar Dumar, introduced to this team. It's the 2nd year that Romar has raced at Le Mans with the Raymond Narek team. Very, very fast, but boy, it has been a troublesome weekend, including that shot we showed you earlier on in our broadcast of Luca Riccatelli slamming the wall earlier in the weekend, right after Romar Dumar had put it on pole. We're on our way to daylight, and these boys, Aston Martin, are now 4th overall with Pedro Lamy in the GT1 car. How about that? Speed's coverage of the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans is brought to you by the all-new 2007 Lexus ES350, the car that asks, is it possible to engineer desire? And by Rolex, a crown for every achievement. And there are plenty of achievements happening right here, right now, but they need to keep it going for another 11.5 hours here at the 74th running of the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans. 74th running of this event, but of course the ACO, the Automobile Club de l'Ouest, celebrating its centenary this year. So a very special year. There's been quite a bit of pomp and ceremony going on as the sun will rise shortly. Just stunning skies here at Circuit de la Sarthe, isn't it, Dawson? This is a special time of the day. It gives everyone kind of their second wind.
This is the best part of the whole race, really, except for winning the thing. When you come into this part of it's nice and cool out there. You can begin to see around the circuit again. So you're really comfortable in the car. The cars are really quick in this condition right now, and it's fun. But you know it's going to heat up soon, and you're going to be sweating like crazy here in about an hour.
Work still going on Romain Dumas' Porsche, but that is not a contender. They are well down the order as we see the one and only Lamborghini Murcielago in the race continuing, which is a positive sign. And just to update you on Alex Young in the Racing for Holland Dome Judd, it did actually get going, but it only moved a short way. It moved one more flag point. We get electronic updates on our timing and scoring screen, and it said the car has now stopped again at Marshall Post 42. So it did actually move once again, but not very far.
Well, if it's got no steering arms on it, you can't steer it no matter what you do. If you could get one steering arm on it, maybe, but not going to happen.
And I'm sure Alex Young is doing everything he can to try and get it back to the pits. They fire up the Romain Dumas Porsche.
This was a brake issue. You saw looking at the front corner of it, and then the master cylinder cap came off. And all of that smoke is probably just fluid where they've bled those brakes, and it's on the hot rotor now.
Eric Ellery, while we're in that break, brought the 17 Pescarolo Sport in for a regular stop. Loosened his belts whilst he was on pit lane and just kind of adjusted himself and then got going again. So nothing too irregular there. And still that lap and a half margin between Pirot and Ellery.
It's a brand new wheel and tire he's about to put on there.
And this is the class leading car, the 83 Cycle Porsche. Or is that? Yes, in conjunction with Farnbacher Racing. These guys have done a stunning job.
Oh.
They've come in via the reserve system, and to lead the class and lead well, there is nobody close to them. The GT2 class, my apologies, is usually so hotly contested where there is nothing between first, second and third. Well, at the moment, just after the halfway point, the Cycle boys are doing it comfortably. And Dominic Farnbacher brought that car in, has just completed a very successful stint. '16 Pescarolo is in. And this is pretty straightforward by the looks of things, Andrew.
Yes, Lee, it certainly is. Eric Comas is staying at the wheel. This is just for fuel only. Eric just chucked out his water bottle. The fuel is still going in. This usually takes about 28 seconds. And interestingly, behind his head is the name of Bouillon, because Jean-Christophe, of course, always stalled it. Fires it up again. Jean-Christophe Bouillon, they obviously hurt himself putting up those curtains in the kitchen, what wives make you do. And the team, I think, has paid a lovely tribute to Bouillon. Of course, drives them regularly in the European Le Mans series. They've left his name on the car, but instead of putting it on the side, they put it on the headrest. But that was a nice thought. I believe Bouillon's here somewhere, but probably in bed at the moment. I'm going to try and find him in the morning and tell him not to put any more curtains up.
If you're not up to speed with that story, Jean-Christophe Bouillon, who is the defending Le Mans Endurance Series, along with Emmanuel Collard, they were very much favourites here. He broke his wrist at home doing domestic duties, and obviously was replaced by Nicolas Manassian in the 16.
You'd look forward to running this race for an entire year as a driver. You prepare for it, you do all these things, and your wife says, will you hang that curtain there? And then, wham! No, broken.
And there is the man, Henri Pescarolo, with his team, who still very much is within striking distance of winning the 24 Hours of Le Mans, his first as a team owner. And the increase of Pescarolo Sport flags, hats, green helmets, etc. in this crowd this year compared to last is quite incredible. They knew they got so close last year, Dorsey. They really feel they have a chance in 2006.
They've done a lot of... It's 40 pounds lighter, but more importantly, they took 40 pounds off the cylinder heads. Cylinder heads, of course, at the very top of the engine. That lowered the CG, the center of gravity of that entire car. It's a V10, 5-liter, 72-degree, Judd, and it's they've done just a huge amount of work. New gearbox, X-Track this year, lighter, narrower.
Let's get it to Andrew. He is with Henri Pescarolo, the man himself.
Yes, I am, Lee. He's very kindly come out of the back office where Henri does all his work. So tantalizingly close, Henri.
A bit disappointed with number 16, of course. There was an electrical problem in the wiring of the engine. Now it works very well, but we stopped very long time to find the problem. And number 17, until now, it's no problem. So we cannot be really as fast as the Audis, actually. But we are not so far. So the race is still very long. You know, we are just past the middle of the race, so anything could happen now.
And we know the Audi has changed the gear cluster, so they obviously have some issues with the Audi with the transmission.
Yeah, we saw that, you know, but I hope they will have some other problems anyway, but we could have also too, you know, that it's a difficult race, a very long race, and I hope we will be a little bit more reliable than them.
Henri, is this better doing this than all those great victories, that string of victories you had? We've got some lovely pictures of you winning back in the 70s.
Oh, it was better for a driver. Nothing is better than to drive, you know, of course. But at the end, you must do something else, and to have your own team and to run it, it's fantastic, you know. Because I'm still driving, but I'm driving my team now.
But Henri, finally, you still actually race a little bit in AC Cobras and historic cars, and still enjoy yourself.
Yeah, I will be in Le Mans Classic, yes, of course, and during the winter I drive my cars also to about aerodynamic evolution. And, of course, it's better to have young drivers at the steering wheel for the race, you know.
Thanks very much, Henri. We'll let you get back into your office.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lovely to hear from the man himself. Great work, Andrew. It's very difficult to get hold of Henri Pescarolo because there is so much media attention here, being the great French hope. And what about last year? It really was a David and Goliath battle, and still very much is, but it got very, very close at times. Audi versus Pescarolo, but in the end, the 16 Pescarolo Sport would end up finishing second overall, some 2 laps behind the Audi. The 2005 Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans is underway. Look at the speed difference there. Huge draft from the Pescarolo Sport, and it just blew by J.J. Leto.
Oh, the number 16 looks to be going very slowly.
That was our leader. It just made that pit stop. 16 in trouble.
You've never seen so many journalists in your life as there are in this team, but it looks as if this race is starting to edge towards Audi's way.
We've got 3 Audis up front, the number 2 and the number 3 from Champion ADT, and the number 4 from PlayStation Team Aurica.
Tell us what happened to Manuele when you had the problem over in Anage.
I pressed the brake pedal and it was like solid hard with no bite, and I had to press very hard and I locked the wheels and I went straight.
For Henri Pescarolo and his men to win this event,
they've got to turn up the wick. They've got to run full speed all the way. They've got to take chances if they want to win this race, guys.
JJ Leto has Eric Comas large in his mirrors. Now, this is not going to be past the position on the track, but it will be another lap regained by the 16 Pescarolo car, which sits at the moment behind JJ Leto, and it's a huge psychological shot as well.
This is it. This could be the defining moment in the overall battle of this race. The Pescarolo Sport Judd is in the garage.
The checkered flag flies. Tom Christensen is the greatest ever driver at Le Mans. Wow. 7 victories for Christensen. And who knows, history just might repeat. What I mean by that is that Pescarolo could still take the fight right up to Audi. There is only a lap and a half between those guys. Sole remaining spiker in pit lane, Brian.
Routine stop down here, Lee. Johnny Kane behind the wheel. He's a Great Britain Formula 3 champ back in '97 and also a Formula Vauxhall Lotus champ. They're going to put some more water in for him. Obviously, it's kind of cool here in the night. These guys working very hard, though. You talked already about the heat in these cars. Now, the Spiker, a little bit of an advantage over that heat sink because the engine is in the back, so you don't have as much heat coming through into the cockpit, but it's still very warm. These guys still working very hard. And what a great story for this entire Spiker team. This company over a century old. They made airplanes before. Now they're back to making cars, and they are running well here at Le Mans.
Just want to update you too on the overall battle. Emanuele Pirro has been able to gain that half lap back and now has a full 2-lap lead over Eric Ellery for Pescarolo, with the second Audi running third overall. Edro Lamy fourth and leading GT1.
Too bad everything doesn't work as well as the tripod flashlight. Only from Stanley.
Friday at Le Mans. It means, well, more than one thing. It means a day off for everyone as far as the on-track activities, but it means the parade on Friday afternoon. It's a fabulous atmosphere. Starts off at the cathedral, makes its way into the town square, and you can see how heavily attended it is. It's a chance for the fans, the locals, the visitors to get close to the unique Le Mans trophy. The drivers grab some photographs and autographs. It really is a fabulous time leading up to Saturday and race day. Welcome back, everyone. Speed Channel's live and exclusive coverage continues here at Circuit de la Sarthe. Lee Diffie, Dorsey Schrader, Andrew Marriott and Brian Till with you as the Labra Ferrari is in for servicing once again. Let's talk GT cars and take a look at something interesting on this recent stop from the Spiker Squadron. Dors?
That's Johnny Kane getting a drink tube handed to him, but he's going to have some trouble with it. You see him right there snatching the thing off. Johnny's in there trying to get a drink, and he's going to find out that he can't, they won't hook up for him. He's going to try to throw that tube back out, but it's going to land on the door sill. That being said, when they go to close the door, it's not going to see there. He throws it out. Now he closes the door, but it won't close. They go for assistance. It doesn't close, and he's driving around with the door that's open now.
We'll keep a close eye on that. Andrew Marriott is standing by with our GT2 leader.
I certainly am, Lee. Do you know, there's an amazing thing about this very weekend. There's not one, but there's two 24-hour races going on. There's another one at the Nürburgring. There's over 300 cars in that. And one man who thought he would be taking part in that race, because this is a late entry, is Dominic Farnbacher. Dominic having a great run here, but you so easily could have been in the Nürburgring 24 hours.
Yeah, I've heard of the 24 hours of Nürburgring, that they take place at the same time. Many of the Porsche drivers, which are normally driving here in the 24 hours of Le Mans, are starting there, so it's difficult to view both at the same time.
Well, you're in the right place, Dominic, because you're leading this class. You've already had your victory, of course, last year at Daytona, and you're doing a fantastic job. Is the car working well?
The car is working well. Our tires are working well. The only thing we have to be worried is about the Ferrari and the Spiker behind us. The team did a great job.
And your co-drivers, of course, Pierre Arret has driven with you to the success at Daytona as well. Pierre doing a good job.
Yeah, Pierre and Lars. Pierre, I won with him the 24 hours of Daytona last year, 2 years ago. And this year, we tried to win Le Mans.
Well, the very best of luck, Farnbacher Racing. They thought they might be in Germany, but now they're doing a 24-hour race here in France instead.
Well, we should be lucky we're not that race with 300 cars.
Oh, no, that'd be crazy, wouldn't it?
That's be insane. It's a run what you brung 24-hour.
As the Zytek is back in and back out. And Farnbacher is a very established name here in Europe, and it's certainly making its way in the United States. And Dominic is only 21 years old and could be a two-time 24-hour winner as far as the Rolex 24 and here at Le Mans. Nelson Piquet Jr. is out of the Team Modena Aston Martin, and David Brabham is in. And we believe there are some pretty exciting things coming for David next year. He can't elaborate, but he thinks he may have some good news coming for 2007 as far as his sports car racing program. And now this car, if you did an order of a list as far as the Aston Martins, the quality of the Aston Martins in the field, this car has been around for a while. It needed some much needed attention to get it ready for this race. But for them to be in a podium position at the moment, I think they would be thrilled. Two of the three drivers are rookies, in Nelson Piquet Jr. and Antonio Garcia. Brabs is the only one with any experience. But so far, so good. And that car is being run by the Irish Team Ireland A1 Grand Prix team.
And that car has been following somebody who's been leaking a whole lot of oil, as you saw that wheel. It's about impossible to see into. So for the driver, you know he's not seeing out any better.
And you have to say, Nelson Piquet Jr., who has done a little bit of sports car racing. In fact, he's raced an Aston in his native country of Brazil. But of course, well known to us as an open wheeler driver, and more to the point, in GP2 at the moment, where he is one of the front runners. Andrew.
Ivan Nelson here. Ivan Nelson here. Nelson just got out of the car. What was that section like?
It was good. We did a double step now, and we had a bit of softer compound, so in the end it was a bit tricky. It was a bit sliding, and but it was okay. I'm enjoying it. It's my first Le Mans.
But you've driven an Aston before in Brazil and was successful with that.
Yeah, but I think we were in a more relaxed pace. We were not racing against other real cars, so it's a bit different than racing here.
Now, one of the last professional races your father did was here. Have you talked to him at all about this race?
No, not really. Just asked him if he thought it was interesting for me to do it, and he said, yeah, sure, but nothing much.
How difficult is it, Nelson, to change your mindset? Because, you know, we see you last week racing in the GP2 car and British Grand Prix, and all of a sudden you've got to change your mind. And there you were not feeling well. You had very bad hay fever. Is that hay fever gone?
Well, it's not really difficult to change your mind. It's just difficult to get used to this car. I mean, if I knew this car well before this race, I'm sure I would be right on the pace. But it's because I never drove the car really in the limits, and this circuit is so different that it just kills the driver if he's never been here.
Nelson, in the closed season, you came very close to getting a Formula One drive. Is that still very much your aim to move into Formula One next year?
Well, I'm trying my best. This year we're doing well. We're second in the championship. The last two races weren't too good, but I'm sure we can recuperate to the top. And just a question of getting things right, because we had a lot of unluck. I did a little mistakes that I lost a race, but I'm sure we can win this championship and hopefully get a contract in the Formula One next year.
Thanks very much. He's going to try and beat Lewis Hamilton, of course. Now, one very interesting person down in this garage is Kerry Adams. Kerry Adams was the man who masterminded J.J. Leto's victory in Le Mans here in the McLaren some almost 10 years ago, and Kerry's down working in this garage.
Thanks, Andrew. Great to hear from Nelson, and what a future he has. His father, a three-time world champion, 207 Grand Prix, 28 Grand Prix victories, and he is a very focused young man. We wish him well in GP2. We wish him well with his Formula One aspirations, but most of all right now here at Le Mans, because he could very well be on the GT1 podium. 20 years of age, he has it all ahead of him. Nelson Piquet Jr. And great to see the names Piquet and Brabham in the one car. Legendary names in world motorsport. More when we come back. coverage of the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans is brought to you by Porsche. Porsche, there is no substitute. And by Valvoline. Test on the track, trusted on the road. Here it is, the Miracle Motorsports entry. Andy Lally steps from the car, Ian James waiting to step in, and John Macaluso. This has been a very successful run. Mike Guay in the background there on the left, running this team for John Macaluso. And these boys had a very fixed game plan before this race started, and that was, we're not going to get caught up in the lead pace. We're just going to keep chipping away, and that's exactly what they've done in their Courage with AER power. And these Kumho tyres that have been specially designed around what they did last year here at their Le Mans debut. It's been a 12-month development process. And Mike Guay said to me before the race, we may even triple stint these tyres. The development has come on that strong and that far from their base in South Korea. Kumho have done a lot of work developing this tyre specifically around this car and this team. So what a great working relationship. And so far, these guys are going brilliantly. They are 12th overall and second in the LMP2 class.
Look at all of the rubber that mechanic just pulled out from behind that wheel. Those are the big chunks of rubber we talked about that are all over the racetrack. We've got a fin on the front here where the red line oil is. That's disconnected. You see where the bolts are. They're supposed to hold that on. That end plate falling off. That could cut down the front tire. I'm surprised they didn't fix that.
Not too worried about it.
Little carbon shard that's dragging on the road there.
So Ian James now behind the wheel. The Phoenix-based driver out for his next stint.
Now those bits of rubber, and you see the mechanic's going to do it for us, those bits of rubber are very, very sticky, and they get together behind the wheel where the mechanic got them out, and they actually be like a snowball. They keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger until they get to be so heavy that when you get on the brakes, they come chucking out of the wheel well opening, and I've almost turned the car over by that getting under the chassis.
This is one of our American teams still in this race and still doing very well. Speaking of Mike Guay, here he is.
Yeah, Mike Guay, who's got a little river just about 5 miles away from here named after him. Mike, you had this game plan to play a long game, and it seems to be working well for you.
Yes, we knew we hadn't quite got the speeds for the Lolas, but we decided to play a very conservative approach, and so far it's working, but of course there's still 11 hours to go, which anything can happen. We have a slight problem with the fuel at the moment. We're having to stop early because we've got a pickup problem, but other than that, things are going along as planned.
And what about pre-stinting the tyres? Are you able to pre-stint the tyres?
The tyres are absolutely excellent. We actually intend triple stinting them a little bit later on. Wear's perfect.
We just saw as the car went out a little bit of winglet hanging down, Mike. Did you not see it?
That'll fall off eventually, not worried about it.
Okay, there's Mike Guay, a man who's got a river named after him. It's just about 4 miles down the road from here.
One of the great things about sports car racing and experienced sports car team managers, they never get too excited or too flustered about things and always keep an eye on reality. Even though they're doing well and they're running second in class, he says, yeah, but there's still a long way to go.
And I said in one of my reports earlier that this team came here very relaxed with that game plan. We're not going to get all mental about who's the fastest out there. We're just going to run our own pace, and we're going to try to get this car to the finish. And if it gets to the finish, we're going to win this race.
Speaking of winning, that's what Ron Fellows has done here at Le Mans. He knows all about it. The 63 Corvette, we just got a quick shot of it. That currently sits 11th overall and 5th in class. LMP2 class leading car for RML. The Lola AER, Tommy Erdos behind the wheel. This is 6th overall. Dorsey, I'm just blown away by the outright speed of the class leading Aston Martin and Ollie Gavin's Corvette. They are 4th and 5th overall at the moment. Now, a GT1 car, which was the Gavin Magnussen Beretta car, finished 5th overall last year. But at just over the halfway mark, to be up in the top 4 and 5, that is outstanding.
It is outstanding at the halfway mark. We're used to seeing this toward the end of the race, that those cars are pretty reliable and get up there. But to be that strong this early, and of course, the two of those having a huge battle amongst themselves right now.
And Erdos serviced and sent. And this car, unlike in years gone by, with it and other cars, it looks bulletproof at the moment. And the Luc Alphon Corvette still running strong in 8th, and it is 4th in class. Now, if you're just tuning in, welcome. It's 6 in the morning here, local time in Le Mans. You're live with Speed's coverage of the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans. 11 hours to go in this fabulous event. Lee Diffie, Dorsey Schrader with you, Andrew Marriott and Brian Till on pit road. And Greg Creamer will be joining us shortly. And what is just another beautiful morning here in France. We've been spoiled by the weather all but one night, which was the first night the cars went on track, wouldn't you know it? But that just added some extra excitement for the drivers as far as race conditions go. Sometimes here at Le Mans we get a little sprinkle during the evening. That has not occurred tonight. And now we see daylight. Everyone gets their second win and we get to go again and go hard for the second half of this race.
They talked about the weather pattern coming in somewhere around noon. But looking at the flags across the way there's not much wind right now. I don't see much of a cloud in the sky anywhere.
This is the Barazzi Epsilon prototype. It's been quite a troublesome race for these guys.
Look how clean that car is, and I'll tell you why that is. Every time they stop, a guy comes on the front of that car and waxes the nose of that car. It keeps all that black rubber stuff. This is probably the cleanest looking car in the whole race.
And Juan Barazzi, Michael Verges, they currently lead the LMP2 class in the Le Mans Endurance Series. These guys have had a good 2006 season in the LMS, but not so the case here at Le Mans.
Well, you're used to seeing those front ends all rock chipped up and full of oil and all kind of debris, bugs, whatever you want to say, but these guys just keep cleaning away at it.
Up front, if you've just joined us, the awesome diesel R10 Audi for Yost Racing has a 2-lap lead over the Pescarolo Sport of Eric Ellery. And then Dindo Capello in the second R10 is third, but some 9 laps down on the race-leading car. Then Pedro Lamy and Ollie Gavin, that is the top 5. Tommy Erdos leads the LMP2 class. And the Cycle Porsche is the GT2 class leading car. Plenty more when we come back on the other side of this break here at Le Mans. Greg Creamer joins the team.
Sunrise at the 74th running of the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans, a magical moment at a magical track. The Circuit de la Sarthe. There is perhaps no more evocative moment during this race as after a run through a relatively short northern France evening in the summer, the sun coming back up, daylight breaking, the drivers wiping the sleep from their eyes, the crew starting to sit up a bit as well. Everybody ready for now the final 11 hours of this absolutely mystical and magical event. Absolutely just a phenomenal moment here. Now, if you're just joining us, I want to bring you up to speed, or if you've stepped away for a little bit, and here's what's unfolded in the first 13 hours of this tremendous event. At the start, it was the 2 Audis from the front row putting all that great torque to use. The Pescarolo Judge just not enough, and the Audis led away. The Corvette, number 63, Johnny O'Connell, just got away from him. You were hoping, was he gonna miss? No, just tagged the wall, a bit of damage to the left rear. Then Dindo Capello trying to avoid, thinking that Binny car was gonna close the door, got it crossed up, but did manage to save it. And then two spectacular moments. First, this was Francois Hachard, the number 30 welter racing Peugeot, airborne, then turned into a shovel. Was able to get it stopped on track, but the most spectacular moment, the 37 Courage Ford in the hands of Yann Claret. The right rear tire explodes, and the bodywork comes off the front. It turns hard into the barrier, the bodywork off the front of the car as well, and then a bit of a fire. Then later in the race, the sun setting here, and in LMP1, problems for the number 16 Pescarolo Judd, spent an hour in pit lane. The number 17 had an off-course excursion. The number 8 Audi was able to overcome some gearbox woes and now remains in the lead. In GT1, the 64 Corvette, long pit stop, gave the lead to the Aston Martin. Aston Martin able to move out front, and they have been battling back and forth through the night on the same lap. The number 90 Krone Racing Peterson White Lightning car, problems, stuck in the gravel, and that has promoted the number 83 Cycle Machine up into the lead in the LMGT2 category, and in the P2 category, number 25, 6 overall right now, had a very early, apparently minor problem with the boost, Dorsey, and since that time, that car has been absolutely running like clockwork, sits 6 overall, comfortably leading in the P2 category.
Thomas Zerdos driving that car as we speak, and you're right. The LMP2 class is usually pretty frail. They're fragile little cars because of how lightly they've been built, but not this time. These guys put on a good battle, and it's far from over.
Take a look at our Valvoline race reset. The Audis are running first and third. The number 17 Pescarolo Judd sits second. Corvette second and sixth in the GT1 battle. 9 cars out of the race. There are a couple that, let's say, are very iffy, tenuous at best right now, and we'll certainly update you as that unfolds. What happens? One of them, sort of a sad story, the Dome that had been running so strongly, and then Alex Jung on board, bit of a problem, and has still been making its way, limping slowly back to the pits. We understand it is still stranded on course. There is a look at the magical Rolex clock here at Le Mans, telling us that we are now under 11 hours to go, but it is a very long 11 hours remaining.
Well, Alex Jung went off in a big way and somehow managed to break both of the steering arms on the front of the car. So although he did get out of the gravel trap, he could only go to the next corner station before he found out that, hey, this thing don't steer, which is a big problem.
Yes, pretty serious problem. They're fairly convinced that car is done, but it has not officially been, as they say here, abandoned yet. Here's the number 20 Pilbeam. This is the car that gave a bit of a scare to the Audis in the early going when it spun right in between the two cars. Working on that car right now.
Looks like the Aston Martin guys getting ready for a scheduled pit stop. Searson will be getting in. And this is a great battle. I mean, the first place in LMP GT1 is running for 4th and 5th overall. And it's early in the race for those guys to be that high up.
Yeah, they've really put together, and I mean, it's been a lockstep battle. You take a look at the fastest times turned by those two cars, 0.3 of a second apart for their best times in the race thus far. 3:51.5 for the Aston Martin, 3:51.8 for the Corvettes, but that, oh boy, and I'll tell you, Pedro Lamy just turned that time. Thank you, Kenny. That was, hadn't noticed that one. That was on the last lap, so Pedro Lamy has just got the hammer down right now. The last lap by Beretta in the 64, 3:57, so that gives you an idea of the pace right now. We're looking here at the number 39. That's the Chamberlain Synergy entry. One of the Lola BO540s, that's also AER powered. Been a real up and down. Oh, and here we go. Number 17, Eric Hillery in the second place. Pescarolo is in. Andrew.
Yes, indeed. This is one of about 29 pit stops they're going to make like this. The fuel is going in. There is a new set of these new taller Michelins developed for the Audi, as we said, waiting for it. And Eric Hillery is staying at the wheel, just talking to his engineer. Eric, of course, will be doing all the testing on the new Peugeot diesel car, which was announced this very weekend. They showed the engine to us. And off goes that very nice, smooth stop. And as I said earlier to Henri Pescarolo. It's so tantalizingly close, and this is very much a David and Goliath battle. Heaven knows what the difference is between the budgets of these two teams, Audi and Pescarolo. I suggest that probably Audi's about 10 times that of the Pescarolo.
Andrew, you were talking about the Davids. Here's one of the Goliaths that has just made a quick stop, and it is back out Christensen now behind the wheel and has picked it up. And here's a look at our class-leading LM GT1 category car. Pedro Lamy threw down a very fast lap 1 lap ago, and now we know why. He brought it in, wanted to build the margin up just a little bit, and he is in, and it appears that we may have a driver change in that car as well. And Dorsey, looks like tires.
Yeah, they're going to do everything they need to right now. This is where you can run really fast, Greg. The sun is up now that you got your visibility back, but it's still very, very cool. Racetrack's got a lot of heat in it. These new tires are going to be real grippy. Watch the lap times. They're going to really start going down.
ProDrive executes to perfection, and it is back on track, and we will step away for just a moment here. We'll update you as everything sorts through the timing and scoring. Stay tuned.
Back at the 74th running of the Michelin 24-hour of Le Mans. You know, the Corvette's always strong here. Ollie, you guys running second right now, giving chase to that green machine out in front, but you guys always seem to have a handle on it. You've won 3 of these things. How's the car right now?
The car right now is not too bad. We've just set the fastest lap of the race for us just a few laps ago. We did have a bit of an incident earlier on where I got knocked off at the first turn by a P car, went skating across the gravel at about 140, did a bit of a Dukes of Hazzard back onto the track, but that did hurt the car for a while, and then through sort of like the second half of the night we were struggling with some tyres and tyre pressures and heat and some other bits and pieces, and so we've finally got that sorted out now, I think, and we're back on track. But we seem to have lost that last couple of mile an hour on the straight, which is a bit of a shame. We're not sure whether that's down to, well, we think it's down to the hit, so we just have to get on and make do without that. But no, the Corvette, I mean, these boys do build them strong. It's been through that gravel trap and flying back on the road, and it's still going strong, so the C6R is fantastic.
Just after the halfway point, you've seen a lot of cut down tires, and there looks to be a lot of debris out on the racetrack, a lot of marbles, both from the gravel traps and from tires. What's the condition?
It does seem to be a bit treacherous out there. I think there's a few people half asleep out there. I mean, I take it you've had some sleep, haven't you, Brian?
I have had a little sleep. I didn't know they had the Dukes of Hazzard in England.
Oh, yeah, they have. Daisy's quite something.
All right, well, they've been watching American television. While that's happening, let's get down to Andrew Marriott.
Yeah, thanks very much, Brian. I'm with a man who raced here 9 times, but now his car is leading LMP2. Ray Mallock. Ray is going very well indeed at the moment. All fingers crossed.
Well, yeah, we've been doing that for some time. The car is running fine now. We had a bunch of problems manifest themselves around 2 o'clock in the morning, including a bad vibration, wastegate that needed changing, and a gear pot. So we lost about 20 minutes in the pits at that time. So the lead GT1 cars got ahead of us at that time, and that's where they are now. But right now it's going fine.
Ray, you've got 2 professional drivers in the car, and then the man Mike Newton, who's now your partner in RML. But for a gentleman driver, he's damn fast.
Mike's doing a great job. It's a credit to him to see his lap time so consistent, so near the pace. So he's being a very important and effective part of the team.
Now, as well as doing this, you're also running in the World Touring Car Championship, and actually you're running an American-make Chevrolet, and you just had your first victory the other day.
Yeah, we did at Brands Hatch at the home track. Alan Menu did a great job for us, and yeah, that was a bit of a contrast to this. That was very short races in comparison to driving around for 24 hours, but yeah.
Ray, great to talk to you, and the best of luck. Let's keep all those fingers crossed.
Thanks very much.
That's Ray Mallock.
A true gentleman without doubt, and also has put together a very solid team. And boy, you are right, Andrew. Newton has been just absolutely brilliant here. thus far in the race. And now turning it over to a driver the quality of Erdos. Things look well indeed as we watch the Chamberlain Synergy number 39. Bit of an up and down event for them as well. Crashes in qualifying and in the pre-test. Good run early in the event and then struggling a little bit, and it continues down in the pits. And you can see that front panel is off and they're working deep down in there, Dorsey.
It's working in the driver foot box area where the brake pedal, I would assume, is what he's working on. You see, it might be a brake bias or a brake balance situation, but he's down there where the driver's feet are, and of course the driver can't pull his feet back because they don't work that way. So it's a hard place to work.
And of course GT car is in as well. Here is the number 73 making a stop. That is that's the Ice Pull Racing team entry. So working there. And there's a look at the Corvette garage. And as we heard in that great interview that Brian did with Ollie Gavin, sometimes as planned, and when you have a Dukes of Hazzard moment, as he put it, well, you have to be able to react to those things. And a little bit earlier, Chris Neville visited with the crew chief for the 63 car, Danny Binks, to find out how they plan for those unexpected moments.
The 24 Hours of Le Mans, an endurance race? No, it's a sprint race. And these teams don't prepare for if things go wrong, they prepare for when things go wrong. Dan Binks is the crew chief on the 63 car. Dan, what has Corvette done over the past couple years to spend less time in the garage?
Well, we practice all the changes in the shop and also here at Le Mans. Here's a good example. The transmission in Sebring, it took 7 minutes to get it out, roughly 15 minutes to rebuild it. The whole side comes off and all new gears, put it back in. The rules are you have to use this case, and then roughly 7 minutes back in. Here we have an example of the rear upright. All the toes have been set, all the camber's been set, and we can put that on in about 7 minutes. Also, another example is the nose. They like to run into stuff and, you know, gravel traps and all that messes the nose up. We can change this in 4 minutes, and that used to be a 15-minute change. Just every piece that you can put on has been done.
First year Corvette came to Le Mans, they spent an hour and a half in the garage. Last year, it was just minutes.
And that's exactly what I was talking about earlier in the show when I talk about preparation for what might happen. And Andrew Marriott is with another Corvette driver. Andrew?
With another Corvette driver, with a man who's a huge hero here in France, twice the downhill world skiing champion. This year he won the Dakar Rally for Mitsubishi, and now he's running a Corvette and running with a possible podium. Luc Alphon, as I said, a real hero here in France, and a lot of people supporting you.
Yeah, it's great. We have, you know, number 72, that's the department of the La Sarthe region from Le Mans. We had a good support from the crowd here. Everything till now is going great. We had some little trouble on the last relay, you know, I had to stop and go, so I had to start twice in the pit. So it was hard to get the rhythm again. And we had a small contact with the Audi, but nothing too serious. So things are running pretty good for the moment. You know, we passed the night. It's finally Sunday. But it's going to be a long, long Sunday because it's still a long way to go.
What about the air conditioning? Is that working okay?
Look, I'm pretty all new. It's working great. I can say it's working great. We have like 27, 28 degrees in the car. Till now, everything is working so great. And it's good. You know, they had triple relay for a GT car in the night. Was really cool for the other drivers. And now if it's a warm Sunday, it's going to be good help, you know, till the end.
Luke, when you started motor racing after you'd finished your brilliant skiing career, it was just a little bit of a hobby, but it's turned into something really big, and you're the winner of the Dakar Rally this year, and of course in Europe that's absolutely huge.
Yeah, it's incredible, but you know, it was just for the pleasure and for the love of speed. You know, when I started car racing, I had the opportunity because I know I wanted to do something and to have my dose of adrenaline every weekend. And, but finally, it's working great. Yeah, winning the Dakar this year was more than a dream, more than expected. Now I'm racing with Mitsubishi and here in Le Mans, it's also a hobby. But then every time we come, we try to do our best, and we have a really good team this year and a good car, and we hope we can be on the podium.
And how are the boys next door in Corvette racing treating you?
Better and better. I mean, they had a look at the beginning, and then you know, just because we are a full private team, and it's but we have good support, no technical support, everything. When we need something, some small parts, because the C566 are different now, but we have a good help because they know the car, they build the car, so everything is every time it's very convenient with them, and you know we are climbing in their confidence. So try to be, maybe we can have a C6 for next year.
Maybe it can. Luke, obviously with the adrenaline flowing, thanks very much.
Well, he talks about his ability for a potential podium. Absolutely. He's only 5 laps back right now of the class-leading Aston Martin, doing very well. 3-time World Cup downhill champion. As a matter of fact, the 2006 Olympic gold medalist, Antoine Deneraz, who came out of nowhere, really, to win that gold medal, lists him as a role model, and it's interesting, Luke lists him as a mentor. He's sort of or as a protege, he's sort of a mentor for him. And there is Vanina Hicks, who's having a bit of a visit with the legendary Luke Alphand. And you heard him talking about adrenaline. There's a reason that team is called Luke Alphand Adventures. And happy Father's Day, everybody. It's past midnight Eastern time. We're into Sunday, and that's Father's Day. Hello, sunshine indeed, and it has, in fact, washed the Circuit de la Sarthe with an absolutely beautiful, glorious French morning. We've heard possibilities of rain, no sign of it right now, that's for sure. Clear skies, just gorgeous here, and great to have all of you with us on this Father's Day for this 74th running of the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans live right here on Speed. Look there at the number 7 Audi, running 3rd overall right now. Problem is about 9 laps back of their teammates who are leading this. Tom Christensen behind the wheel, and of course lots of speculation for Christensen. Can he get a record 7th overall? Can he get a record 8th or 7th in a row, a record 8th overall? Not looking too good right now, but Dorsey, we still have the better part of 11 hours to go, so things happen here.
Long way to go, and this is when the campers wake up and see how truly ugly things got last night. There's a lot of campers here. I mean, half the field is covered with tents and so forth, and I drove through there this morning about a couple hours ago, and it didn't look too good. No. I mean, at 3 o'clock at night here, this place is absolutely alive. At 4 o'clock, as you said, everybody has finally said enough, and they do make a party of it, and they head out. And they head away. But you take a look here, obviously the crews who are on duty and on call all night, still trying to steal just a little bit of some time right now. So this is the Audi pit, and obviously they have had some adventures here as things have gone on at this stage. And looking at our host feed right now, you can see they're giving us some updates on various categories. And you can see it's Audi Pescarolo Audi up front overall. And in GT1, that Aston Martin Corvette battle is stellar. And the number 62 Aston Martin, which is a bit of a surprise considering it really hasn't been on the pace that much, has been very, very reliable, just clicking off the laps and running very strongly at this stage. Good look there at Stefan Sarrazin. There's Mr. Christensen making his way out of the pits. World feed giving us some interesting moments. Clearing a little crick of the neck right there when you're lulled over. The number 16 Pescarolo, again this is coming from our world feed, just some moments. And there is the number 2 Essex Racing Zytec Engineering entry of Nielsen, Elgard, and Anderson. Been in the pits for a little while. They had made their way back onto the first page of 3 on the scoring monitor after dropping off 16th overall at this stage, and had a little bit of a longish stop, but are back out now, and they're just trying to just stay with it, work their way back up into the order. Such a long way to go. This race again started much later than we've ever had one start before, is not to step on the world feeds.
Well, as we watch this car, we want to go back a little bit. Obviously, the diesel Audis, the R10 TDIs, they felt the need for speed, and it started right here on Speed at Sebring this year. And it was interesting because the number 2 had a tremendous qualifying run, but ended up starting from pit lane because of a problem in the morning warm-up. And there you see McNish heading out, a unbelievable qualifying lap. But a little bit later on, the number 1 in the hands of Frank Biela had a spin, sort of surprised everybody at that point. Then it headed to the tent behind the pit wall. Really, he retired on lap 117 with an overheated engine. The number 2, however, just continued running. Only a couple of unscheduled stops were to change the fuel filter and to tighten a couple of loose wheel nuts. And of course, you saw them cover up the lens there, and the number 1 didn't want to give away anything. And late in the race, it was Christensen gets in and was able to pull off a win. Another remarkable achievement by Christensen. And he ends up with a win by 4 laps there. Just phenomenal stuff. And there's a look at the Rolex clock and some of the great shots right here. The Intersport Lowland pit lane. Some crew members still trying to grab what they can for naps. And we're going to step away for just a moment. But please, do come back. Wednesday night on Speed, don't miss Pinks. Pride, passion, and titles are all on the line in ultimate head-to-head quarter-mile matchups. The rules are simple. Lose the race, you lose your ride. That's Wednesday night, 9 Eastern, 8 Pacific on Speed. Welcome back to Le Mans, the ACO, the Automobile Club de l'Ouest. That's the organizing body here, and we've been talking about sticky gumball cool night tires. Darcy, that's pickup.
They picked up everything they could, you know. You got all the rocks from there.
Boy, I'll tell you, that tire had everything on it, and this is the Ferrari that is currently running rather strongly, and everybody expected this car to be really a runaway car in a sense here in the GT2 category, but as always, those Porsches showing very strongly. But this car right now, top 3 in the class, and in for a quick stop. And this car is a little bit different car than we've seen in the past, certainly in the American Le Mans Series and running even in the European Series, including Le Mans, the new 430. And let's go down to Brian Till, who's there.
Greg, the car running very strong. Andrew Kirkcaldy will stand behind the wheel for the 3rd time. It will be a triple stint for him. He's going to take fuel and Michelin tires. They do have a problem. They've got a severe vibration in the brake pedal. They think that perhaps one of the brake pads is lodged at somewhat of an angle, and every time they go to the brake pedal, the pedal pulsates very aggressively underneath the driver's foot. Doesn't seem like much, but what it does is it eventually causes that leg to cramp. So they've had some issues for the drivers. Kirkcaldy will stay in for his 3rd stint, as I said, but every time one of those guys is getting out of the car, very, very sore.
Well, that is setting them back. I mean, keep in mind in the test day, Kirkcaldy was 2 seconds faster than anybody else in the class, and that second fast car was in the hands of last year's winner, Mark Lieb. So this car, the Ferrari, obviously a lot of potential, just struggling a little bit right now. This is the number 93 Team Taizan Advan Porsche, running in the GT2 category, has made a stop. In the midst of making a stop at this stage, and an awful lot of attention right now, Doris, you're seeing being spent on cleaning windshields, and obviously with the sun coming up, if it's not clean and you've got a lot of that oil and junk on there, that glare can be absolutely really blinding.
And those little bits of rubber all around the racetrack we keep talking about, they get thrown up from the car in front of you, and they leave little skid marks on your windshield, little rubber skid marks, and if you get enough of those, you just can't see a thing.
And here's a look at the Saleen. And this car earlier in the evening in this race was up into the top 3 in class. It has slipped a little bit, and right now it is Christian Fittipaldi behind the wheel who is bringing that car in. They had, whoa, right across the nose, but obviously Christian was ready for it. And he makes the stop. I loved his comment a bit earlier when he said he's kicking himself now that after all of the time he's raced and all of the successes he's had in Formula 3000, Formula 1, certainly champ cars, that he couldn't believe that he had not come to Le Mans now that he's here.
ACO's putting a lot of emphasis on safety, particularly not spinning the tires, leaving the pit lane. I'm going to wonder what about that Porsche right there, if that's not going to get a penalty for being a bit aggressive on the pit lane, something that they've warned the drivers they don't want to see. It's really hard not to spin the tires when you leave pit lane, particularly if they don't change the tire to a sticker, because they it wants to stall the car because there's so much grip in the old tires that are warm, you know. Without spinning them up and getting out of there, it's really hard not to stall.
Well, and also it would seem to me if you're not going to spin the tires, sometimes to do that you have to really ride the clutch. And in a long race like this, with all the number of pit stops, I mean that's got to be something of great concern in terms of the clutch and getting through the race.
And it's not so bad on a big engine like the Corvette or like the Celine. It's much harder on a smaller turbocharged engine where you got to really rev the thing and spool it up to get away from the standing start.
This is a look at the number 50 Larbre competition Ferrari 550 Maranello. Absolutely gorgeous car. Gabriel Gardel, Patrick Bornhauser, and Jean-Luc Blanchemin behind the wheel. Another quick stop. Car back out. At this stage of the race, unless obviously you're dealing with some sort of problem, you're just focusing on getting the stops done and just turning the laps, doing whatever you can. Because there's so much time left at this stage, even though you may be a few laps back and not necessarily right at the sharp end of your class, one problem by anybody up in front of you, and you can head on by it. This is a car that has certainly had an awful lot of success here, Le Mans, winning the class in 2003. And I think I just saw the Lister Storm being pushed back into the ground.